Hey, everybody, welcome back to Lettermen Row. I'm Austin Ward. That is Jeremy Birmingham. This is Rapid Reaction brought to you by Byers Auto. Wyatt Davis, the All-American, the all-decade offensive guard for the Buckeyes, who accomplished that in just one season starting. He's off to the NFL draft. He confirmed to Lettermen Row on Friday morning that it was a combination of factors, but mainly just continuing to wait on the Big Ten and not believing that the Buckeyes would have a chance to play for a college football playoff this year that prompted him to go ahead and make this move. I think people are shocked for him a little bit about the timing because there is that potential for a vote in the coming days that maybe Ohio State and the Big Ten could play on that October 17th date, but clearly there's not a lot of faith coming from those draft-eligible Buckeyes that they'd get the opportunity that they wanted when they made the decision to stay for another year.
Why should there be? I mean, that's, I guess, ultimately what we've been beating our heads about for the last 6 weeks is that nobody has presented a plan to the coaching staffs, to the administrations of these athletic departments after this amount of time, knowing that we had since March when all this started, and there was month upon month to start formulating a plan. The plan was to play starting last Thursday, and then 5 days after that was announced, it was decimated. Nothing has been communicated since. I understand the frustration from people saying, hey, if you've waited this long, why not wait until Monday? But because they don't have to. These kids are in a position right now where they have to be the ones to be the adults in the room and to make a choice for themselves. And, you know, it sucks. And as we talked about in the, bold predictions video we just did, like, there's going to be a lot more of these coming. This is an avalanche coming for Ohio State football when it comes to the roster. And the number of changes that are coming are going to be hard for Buckeyes fans to swallow.
It was an interesting conversation. So the story was initially reported by Pete Thamel at Yahoo Sports, and then as soon as it posted, I had a conversation with Wyatt Davis. I talked to him for about 10 minutes. He was out in Los Angeles. He's been a very fun, very personable guy to cover, and he had no problem, talking with us about the decision. And what I took away from it was, I was normally when players declare, I say, congratulations, you've achieved your lifelong dream. You signed a deal with an agent. You're going to be, a high round pick and rich beyond your wildest dreams. But Wyatt was not in a celebratory mood. This was not the decision he wanted. This was not the way he wanted this to come. And again, you can say, well, maybe you could just wait and hold out hope. But he's a first round draft pick. That's guaranteed money, life-changing money. And an opportunity to achieve your dreams. But he also had something taken away from him, which was the opportunity to be around his team, be a captain, and to compete for a college football playoff. So I said, I don't know. Do I congratulate you? Or do I say I'm sorry? And he said, well, it's kind of both. It's tough, bittersweet. And if there had been better communication from the commissioner of the Big Ten, maybe it would have gone a different way. And I think that was where that quote came from. It's getting a lot of traction and attention. I know you jumped on that right away. It's just such a bizarre feeling because normally these are joyous days to be around your family. And it was like, this was a bit of a funeral for a college football career that didn't get to reach its full potential for him.
Yeah, back in March, we had the Requiem for a season after the Clemson loss. And this entire year has been such a just aberration in the history of humanity, let alone college sports. And what we're seeing and what we're going to see is Ohio State fans just looking back on this year going, oh my God, I can't believe what could have happened. Like this was a truly special group that we're not going to get to see put back together. And it's because of, and something we've said over and over in the last few weeks, it's just an abject vacuum of leadership in the Big Ten. And it's not gotten better, which is the hardest part to swallow. You'd think that, again, these last few weeks of just everybody saying, where is the leadership? Where is the leadership? You'd think that would spur someone into action, but instead all the Big Ten does is send out, crafty PR plays that say nothing and accomplish nothing except for trying to cover their asses. And when that happens, what you see is players like Wyatt Davis, players like Justin Fields inevitably, Shaun Wade inevitably, that are going to be making the same decision that are covering their own asses. And that's again, it's hard to blame them for it. It's hard to know that if you feel good for them or not, because you do feel bad. Wyatt Davis came back to Ohio State this year for one reason, and that was to win a national championship. It was not anything else. And you think about guys like Josh Myers who are going to have to make that same decision coming up. Like, you can tell that it weighs heavy on them. It's not a simple, like, oh, okay, I can go just make millions in the NFL. Like, it mattered to these guys to come back to Ohio State because they really felt like they had what it took to do what mattered to their lives, and that is win a championship. I don't think a lot of people understand, like, if you're not someone who's played sports competitively, winning a championship is way more important to most of these people than getting rich, especially at a level like Ohio State. Maybe not, D3 or whatever, but if you have the opportunity to go get rich, you do it. But to win a national championship at Ohio State it's a legacy that will stay with you for the rest of your life. Like, getting rich, making the NFL is cool, but we've seen a lot of guys who were first-round picks out of Ohio State that were out of the league in 3 years. Winning a national championship is something that sticks with you forever, and those guys decided as a group, collectively, to be leaders and to come back. And to do that and to walk back into the Big Ten and to find that there is no leadership outside of the individual programs is heartbreaking.
Well, that sums it up. I think it's fair to say that when I talked about life-changing money for these guys, well, you hit the nail on the head. That's a life-changing experience that they're now missing out on. And we understand in the midst of a pandemic that a lot of people are missing it. But we cover college football. We cover Wyatt Davis. We cover the Buckeyes. And nothing has gone the way any of them imagined, obviously. But they could have – I think that the Big Ten could have done better by these guys. And I don't really see how there's any contrary argument to that at this point, given what's happened. And you're right. This is not going to be the last rapid reaction that we do with NFL decisions from these Ohio State Buckeyes. Prepare for more. Multiple sources have already confirmed to Lettermen Row that the coaching staff is aware of what's going to happen. I don't believe that it was a coincidence that Ryan Day put out that statement on Thursday. Yes, it was public pressure on Kevin Warren. But it was also a realization of what's about to happen to this roster. And it's incredibly unfortunate. You already know that there's going to be a 30 for 30 on this team that, the best team that never got a chance to play. I'm sure they'll shorten it down and edit it for a little better clarity than what I said there. But it's hard to imagine, Bern. It's tough.
No, I mean, it's what we've talked about. I don't know how Ohio State is expected to play in late November or January or whenever if all this stuff goes down as we're sort of expecting it to. I mean, if we're being honest, you expect 7 or 8 guys on the current roster to go away to declare for the NFL at least, and then you have transfers and other stuff that are always going to happen. I've been a proponent, and I've said it over a few times, and if the Buckeyes aren't playing this October, they need to just tell the Big Ten we're not playing until next fall, because there is no value to Ohio State to play with a 75% roster full of people who've never played football before. I mean, it just doesn't do them any good. And so, we're going to see a narrative shift probably over the next few weeks if this decision isn't made in the next couple of days like we've been expecting. And that's going to be Ohio State is going to become the bad guy who doesn't want to play. And that's because they've been pretty much forced to be put in that position. And that's, again, I don't know what else to say. The leadership of the Big Ten has failed the coaches. It's failed the players. It's failed the parents. And it continues to do that today.
A really bright and shiny rapid reaction brought to you by Byers Auto. Normally a celebration, and we do offer our sincere congratulations to Wyatt Davis on achieving one lifelong dream, while also condolences to him and the Buckeyes for losing out on something that they desperately wanted. It is a weird situation. As Wyatt put it himself, it's bittersweet. There's no other way to put it. And Wyatt Davis is now heading off to the NFL draft, and he's opted out of his final season with the Buckeyes. That's Jeremy Birmingham. I'm Austin Ward. This has been Rapid Reaction, brought to you by Byers Auto at Lettermen Row. Stay with us. There's a lot more coverage coming on the Buckeyes, the Big Ten, and the strangest season in history.